Hi everyone, welcome to FM Deep Dive, a facilities management production created with the help of AI. Today, we're diving into the people, projects, and work that keep the University of Maryland campus running.
You sent us on a mission to uncover UMD's spooky side, and
Let me tell you,
Okay.
the facilities management department did not disappoint. Who knew plumbing and electrical work came with a side of ghost stories?
It's fascinating, isn't it? You'd expect their article to be all about building maintenance, but they delve right into the unexplained happenings around campus. Talk about a surprising source.
And what better place to start our deep dive into UMD's haunted history than with the oldest building on campus, Rossborough Inn. This place is practically a history book come to life, and I'm ready for some chills. What kind of stories have survived all these years?
Well, if the stories are to be believed, Rossborough's longest resident is Miss Betty, a woman in yellow who managed the inn during the Civil War.
And here's what's truly intriguing. People claim to still see her to this day. It makes you wonder, what is it about her story, out of all the people who have passed through Rossborough, that seems to linger? Is it the tragedy of the Civil War era, or something more personal to her experience?
Okay, that gives me goosebumps, especially considering they actually recorded some unexplained voices at the inn back in 2012. What did they use for that kind of investigation anyway?
While the details of that particular investigation aren't fully clear, these kinds of investigations often involve using audio recorders, particularly in areas where EVPs
Or electronic voice phenomena have been reported. The idea is that these devices might pick up sounds or frequencies undetectable to the human ear.
So those creaky doors and eerie silences could actually be hiding something more. Okay, now I'm really interested. What else have people reported experiencing there?
Along with Miss Betty, there are whispers of a failed duelist who met his end outside the inn, and even a Confederate soldier said to roam the grounds. Imagine the weight of those stories. It makes you think about how certain events, certain periods in a place's history might leave a more profound, energetic mark.
It's like some places hold on to the energy of these events more than others, almost like an echo that resonates through time. Okay, so we've got Civil War era figures, mysterious recordings, and a whole lot of history.
Rossborough Inn is definitely checking all the boxes for a truly active haunting, but our spooky tour of UMD doesn't end there, does it?
Not even close.
Hmm.
Let's move from the historical weight of Rossborough to a different kind of energy, one with a bit more of a musical note. Literally, we're talking about Marie Mount Hall.
Ah, named after Marie Mount, the dean of home economics. You know, for a building named after a figure like that, you wouldn't expect it to be a hotspot for unexplained activity. What's going on over there?
Well, aside from the usual reports of doors opening and closing on their own, toilets flushing with no one around, things that might make you think twice before working late, there are stories of music.
Specifically, piano music.
Okay, that's a bit creepy, but also kind of beautiful in a ghostly way. Is it thought to be Marie herself tickling the ivories from beyond?
That's the rumor. And it gets even more interesting when you realize that this unexplained music isn't confined to just Marie Mount. Similar accounts come from the Alpha Omicron Pi sorority house. Could there be a connection? Is this some sort of campus-wide melody echoing through different buildings?
Instead of a ghost story, it's a ghost symphony. I love it. But let's be honest, not all of us are musically inclined. Some of us prefer a good old-fashioned spooky sound effect like the sound of marching footsteps. Which brings us to our next stop. Morrill Hall. Why does that name send chills down my spine already?
Morrill has a different feel to it. Visitors and occupants have reported hearing marching footsteps, clear as day, even when they're completely alone. What's interesting here is that Morrill Hall used to have cadet training right outside.
So it could be the ghostly remnants of those past cadets still going through their drills. Talk about dedication. But seriously, that's both fascinating and a little unsettling. Imagine studying for a chemistry exam, only to hear phantom marching echoing in the halls.
I think what's unsettling about Morrill isn't just the sound of the marching, but what it represents. A kind of relentless, unending duty, as if these cadets are bound to repeat their routines for eternity. And if that wasn't enough...
Maybe there's more. What else could possibly make Morrill Hall creepier than ghostly marching? Don't tell me they have phantom cafeteria food smells too.
Actually, you're not far off. People have reported strange and often unpleasant odors in Morrill as well. It seems ghosts don't always smell like roses and sunshine.
Okay, that's officially more scary than the marching, and I thought I was brave. But speaking of brave, didn't you mention something about a paranormal investigation at Morrill Hall? Tell me more.
Right. Back in 2002, the Maryland Ghosts and Spirits Association investigated Morrill Hall and claimed to find some pretty compelling evidence of paranormal activity. They haven't publicly released the specifics of what they found, which just adds to the intrigue, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Like, what did they see or hear that was just too spooky to share? Now I'm dying to know.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment from the serious and spooky to something a bit lighter. What about the Tawes Fine Arts Building? Surely a place filled with creative energy can't be that scary, right?
You'd be surprised. Tawes actually has a bit of a reputation. Before the Clarice Smith Performing Arts Center became the heart of the art scene, Tawes was the place to be, and where there's art, there's passion, and perhaps a few lingering echoes of those passions. Okay, I see where you're going with this. So what kind of echoes are we talking about? Dramatic sighs, phantom lighting cues.
Think more along the lines of footsteps. Not long after Tawes opened in 1965, people began reporting hearing footsteps echoing through the halls, even when the building was completely empty.
And because this is UMD, and we apparently love giving names to our campus ghosts, the performing arts students decided to name this mysterious presence Mortimer, which honestly I kind of love.
Mortimer, the phantom thespian. It has a certain ring to it. But while Mortimer provides a bit of theatrical whimsy, our next stop takes a more somber turn. We're heading to Washington Hall, a place forever linked to a profound loss.
You're talking about Len Bias, right?
Mhm.
Even all these years later, his story still resonates. For those who might not know, Len was a basketball star, a legend in the making, who tragically died in his dorm room in 1986. What makes his story even more haunting are the reports from those who lived in his old room after his passing. They claim to have heard the unmistakable sound of a basketball being dribbled late at night.
It's as if his spirit, so deeply connected to the sport he loved, is still practicing, still striving for greatness. It makes you think about the power of memory, how certain individuals leave an imprint on a place that seems to transcend time.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that these stories aren't just about spooky sounds or strange occurrences, but about the very real people who walked these halls before us, leaving behind traces of their passions, their sorrows, and their very essence. But while Len Bias's story connects us to a campus-wide grief, there are other stories at UMD that are much more personal, more intimate. What about the stories from Easton Hall and the Delta House? Easton Hall always had this heavy energy to me, even before I knew the stories. There's this sadness that seems to permeate the building.
It's certainly a place with a lot of emotional weight. We're talking about a student who took his own life back in 1965. It's a stark reminder that these stories, these hauntings, aren't just abstract chills. They're rooted in very real tragedies.
It's like his despair became part of the building itself. But then you have the Delta House, which is a very different kind of haunting, right?
Exactly. Theirs is a story about the persistence of friendship, even in the face of loss. One of their fraternity brothers died in a car accident in 1955, and those who live in the house now say he never really left.
Okay, this is the part where I need details. What kind of things are happening?
They've reported furniture moving inexplicably, a face appearing in the reflection of a blank TV screen, and a cabinet that always feels strangely warm to the touch the cabinet that belonged to the student who passed away.
It's like he's still there with them, watching over them. It's both heartwarming and eerie at the same time.
It really makes you question what lingers after we're gone, doesn't it? Is it simply energy, or could it be something more? And if these stories teach us anything, it's that the answer might be different for every place, every person.
Speaking of different, our last stop on this deep dive into UMD's haunted history takes us to a place shrouded in mystery, tragedy, and an unsolved murder. The Kappa Delta Sorority House.
This one has all the elements of a classic ghost story, but with an extra layer of intrigue because of the unsolved murder of Alma Prankert, the founder of the Kappa Delta chapter, back in 1954.
It's like something out of a true crime podcast. What happened to her?
Sadly, the details are still murky. An intruder, a struggle, and Alma was gone. Her death remains unsolved to this day, which only adds to the feeling that the story isn't over yet. Those who live in the house say her presence is still felt, especially in the summer months.
And if that wasn't chilling enough on its own, they also claim to see the apparition of a young girl during those same summer months. Do we know anything about her?
That's the biggest mystery of all. No one knows who she is or how she connects to the house or Alma's murder. But her presence adds a whole other level of complexity to the story. It's like the house itself is holding on to multiple layers of the past, each one waiting to be understood.
This whole deep dive has been one surprise after another. Who knew the facilities management department could send us down such a fascinating and slightly spooky rabbit hole?
It just goes to show that every place has a story to tell, layers upon layers of history, memory, and perhaps even a few lingering spirits. It makes you look at these familiar buildings with a fresh perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You can't walk past Rossborough Inn or Morrill Hall without thinking about those ghostly footsteps or that haunting piano music. And it makes you wonder, what stories will we leave behind? What traces of ourselves will linger in these places long after we're gone? That's something to think about as you wander around campus tonight. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the haunted history of UMD. Sleep tight and don't let the ghosts bite.
You've been listening to FM Deep Dive. To learn more about facilities management projects at the University of Maryland, visit facilities.umd.edu.